Chapter 4. The Weight of a Leader. The first rays of dawn painted the sky in soft hues of gold and crimson as Izashi wandered the quiet village streets. The echoes of last night's victory still lingered in the air. Charred buildings, broken weapons, and fresh graves marked the cost of their first true battle. Despite the warm sunrise, a cold weight pressed against his chest. Was he truly strong enough to lead them? To face Antares when the time came? His grip tightened into a fist. He had always been a fighter, but this war was different. The enemy was not just another football team, another rival on the field. This was life and death, and the fate of an entire world rested on their shoulders. A soft breeze rustled through the streets as Koga stepped beside him, silent as a shadow.
"You seem troubled," Koga observed, her crimson eyes studying Izashi.
Izashi exhaled, crossing his arms. How the hell am I supposed to lead when I barely understand what's happening? I didn't ask for this. None of us did.
Koga remained quiet for a moment before replying, "A leader is not chosen by request, but by necessity. Whether you asked for this or not, the battle has begun, and you must rise to meet it."
Izashi sighed, rubbing the back of his head. That's easy for you to say. You're a badass spirit warrior. I'm just a guy who threw touchdowns in my past life.
Koga smirked. "Perhaps, but even warriors can fumble."
Izashi let out a small chuckle, but before he could respond, a chilling sound cut through the morning stillness. A deep, guttural horn bellowed in the distance. The ground beneath them trembled slightly.
Koga's eyes narrowed. So soon.
Izashi turned sharply. What was that?
From the village watchtower, a guard sprinted toward the town square, his face pale with fear. "The Dark Ones," he shouted. "They're coming." Gasps and murmurs spread through the village. Caleb, Will, and Terrence, who had just emerged from one of the homes, exchanged tense glances before rushing to Izashi's side.
"What's the situation?" Caleb asked, hand already on his sword.
Before the guard could answer, another horn sounded, closer this time. The villagers erupted into panic.
Koga's expression darkened. "The invasion is upon us."
Lancelot, Leonidas, and Cerberus appeared, their humanoid forms materializing beside their chosen warriors.
"We must rally the villagers and prepare for battle," Lancelot declared. "This is no mere raid. They are coming in full force."
Izashi's pulse quickened. This was happening. Right now. He turned to Koga. How much time do we have?
Koga's eyes flickered as she focused. An hour, at best. Their forces march from the eastern ridge. If they reach the gates, there will be no stopping them.
Izashi looked at the fearful villagers, his stomach twisting. They weren't soldiers. They were farmers, merchants, blacksmiths, people just trying to survive. He clenched his fists. Then we don't wait. We take the fight to them.
Caleb grinned. "Now you're talking."
Will nodded. "Better to hit them before they hit us."
Terrence cracked his knuckles. "Let's make him regret showing up."
Izashi took a deep breath, then turned to the village elder. Gather anyone who can fight. The rest should take shelter underground. We'll hold them off.
The elder hesitated, then nodded. "May the gods be with you."
As the warriors and their spirits rushed toward the eastern ridge, Izashi's heart pounded in his chest. This was it. His first real test as a leader. But deep down, doubt still lingered. Would he be enough? The awakening of Thunderbolt. They reached the ridge just as the enemy came into view. A monstrous horde stretched across the land. Dark Ones in their grotesque forms, goblin honor guards, and heavily armored high orcs marching in perfect unison. Towering above them was a war beast, its blackened tusks dripping with venom, its massive form covered in thick armor. Izashi's breath caught in his throat. There were too many.
Koga noticed his hesitation. You must not falter.
Izashi swallowed hard and drew his blade. We fight smart. Hit them before they hit us. Summon your units.
With a wave of their hands, the 4 warriors called forth their spirit soldiers. Lancelot's Blue Knights materialized first, forming a defensive front. Leonidas's Golden Spartans took formation, shields raised. Cerberus's Beast Legion snarled, their claws digging into the ground. Koga's Shadow Assassins melted into the terrain, waiting to strike. The enemy horde roared as they began their charge. Izashi braced himself. This was it. He rushed forward, blade in hand, clashing with the first High Orc. The impact sent a shockwave through his arms, but he pushed through, striking deep into the creature's chest. All around him, the battle unfolded in chaos. Caleb's sword danced through enemies. Will's spear struck with precision, and Terrence's fiery attacks decimated clusters of goblins. Izashi fought fiercely, but as he parried an incoming strike, something deep inside him shifted. A crackle of energy coursed through his veins. His vision blurred for a second, and suddenly he saw everything. Each enemy's movement, each incoming attack. The air around him hummed. Sparks flickered at his fingertips. Then, without thinking, he raised his hand, and a bolt of blue lightning erupted from his palm. It ripped through the battlefield, arcing between enemies, electrocuting anything in its path. The sky darkened momentarily, the air thick with raw energy. As the last spark faded, Izashi stood there, panting. The battlefield had gone silent. Dozens of enemies lay motionless, their bodies still twitching from the aftershock. His hands trembled.
Koga's eyes widened. You have awakened it.
Izashi turned to her. What? What was that?
Koga smirked. Your first true power, Thunderbolt. The mark on your hand has finally begun to unlock its full potential.
Caleb whistled. Damn, Izashi. That was insane.
Will grinned. Looks like our leader just became a living lightning storm.
Terrence chuckled. Now we're talking.
Izashi looked down at his hands, still crackling with residual energy. For the first time since arriving in this world, he felt ready. As the remaining enemy forces retreated in fear, the village's survival was secured. But the war had only just begun. Izashi clenched his fists, lightning flickering around him.
Antares, I'm coming for you!